Hello! Today we are going to talk about what type of food can help us grow in our yoga practice. Please imagine car. If we put high quality oil, high quality petrol to our car, if we add good tires to our car, then we can drive for very long time without any problems, for very long range. The same happens with our body. Our body is like a machine, and this body has certain rules. How does it work? If we put material that help our body to be more effective, then we have more energy, we become more healthy, and we have more concentrated mind. Most of the people who are practicing yoga, they're vegetarians. Vegetarian diet, it means they do not eat meat, they do not eat fish, and they do not eat eggs. There are a lot of scientific researches that shows that vegetarian diet is fully healthy and balanced. Vegetarian diet have very positive impact for body and for the whole human system. What does it mean, vegetarian diet? Vegetarian diet, it means all kind of fruits, all kind of vegetables, all kind of beans, all kind of grains, dried fruit, berries, legumes, greenery like salad, also lenses, and many more. Vegetarian diet, it is plant-based diet. Plant-based diet, it is very well known from ancient times. For example, saint people, they knew that in plants there are very strong power, and because of that, probably most of the saint people, they were eating plant food. And also interesting moment that the more realized masters, the less food they eat. It means they eat plant food, but there are almost very small amount of food that they're eating, because that's the reason why they are highly realized masters. So vegetarian diet, it is very great method that help to keep our body clean, and people from the ancient times knows that, because if we eat food that is very hard to digest, then it creates toxins, toxins that rots in our body, inside of our body, and because of that comes a lot of different illnesses, a lot of different problems. So if we eat bad food, then it creates bad bacteria, it creates bad microbes that need our energy to grow, and because of that we don't have our own energy, we have a lot of illnesses and a lot of other problems comes. For example, in ancient Ayurveda knows very well that different food, it gives different state of mind. It means that when we eat some particular food, this food, it gives us different state of mind, and in ancient times, in Ayurveda, they knew it very well. For example, we can eat food that gives us calm mind, harmony inside of us. For example, we can eat food that gives us active mind. Also, we can eat food that gives us confusion, dull state of mind. Ayurveda calls it, there are sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. So sattvic food, it is food that gives us very clear, very calm, very harmony mind. Rajasic food, it is food that gives us, very active mind, when our mind is very active, rushing, searching always for something. And tamasic food, it is food that gives us very dull state of mind, very depressive state of mind, very it gives confusion for us. So people who are practicing yoga, they always want to be as healthy as possible. They want to have very clean body from inside, because when we're practicing yoga, we want to direct our energy to yoga practice, to good things to do for other people. And because of that, we need health, we need energy, we need good power that we can with that we could make something good for other people in this world. So for us as people who are practicing yoga, it is very important to be at least on vegetarian diet. Actually, now it is also very popular for people who are practicing yoga to go even to vegan diet, because for example, on vegetarian diet, vegetarians, they eat milk and milk products. For example, vegans, they absolutely do not eat food that comes from animals. So of course, it's up to everybody what kind of food eat. Just please know that if we eat food that is very hard to digest, for example meat, for example fish, for example eggs, so because it is hard to digest this kind of food, then this food after some time it starts to rot in our intestine, and because of that it creates a lot of toxins, a lot of bacteria, and they need energy to live. And because of that, they stuck in our walls of the intestine, and they take our energy from us. And the more our body from inside is dirty with all kind of bacteria, all kind of microbes, because of that, here comes a lot of illnesses, a lot of problems, headaches, a lot of pain comes because of that. So people who are practicing yoga, they very like to use shatkarmas. It is very useful when you're practicing yoga to do shatkarmas like Shanka Prakshalana, like Vamanadhauti. Also, it is very useful in yoga practice to do, when we do not eat food for some time. For example, fasting. Yes, so it is very useful, and it is very great when we can do it in our yoga practice. Now let's talk about what type of food yogis recommends to remove from our food list. So first, it is meat and meat products. It is because of that, because it is very hard to digest meat. As I've said before, meat it starts to rot, and because of that, here comes bacteria that start to grow bigger and bigger, and because of that, here comes a lot of different illnesses, a lot of problems with our health. Also, there are another reason that, for example, when people eat meat, fish or eggs, people who are growing animals in farms, they are growing those animals just to make more money. They grow those animals, just to kill and sell and get more money for it. So those animals, they live in very poor conditions, and none of animals, none of people would like to live in such cages, in such farms. So for example, when those farmers, when they're killing those animals, animals feel negative emotions, they feel fear, they feel stress, they feel, you know, some kind of negative emotions, because everybody in this planet wants to live. And you know, they feel from inside that something is wrong will happen here. And because of that, in their energy bodies, all those negative emotions, it stays. And for example, when people eat meat, they also eat meat, and they also eat that kind of particular energy that those animals had. And because of that, people become stressful, they become fearful, they become very emotional, and it happens because they eat meat that has, you know, like negative, they're like charged with negative energy, with energy of killing, energy of stress, energy of fear, energy of anxiety, and all those emotions, they, you know, go straight to the person who are eating meat. Also in saint scriptures we can find a very interesting moment that that responsibility for killing animal, you know, there have I think probably like 6 people who have responsibility for killing that animal. So it is person who are killing animal, person who are you know, like cutting it into parts, then person who are, I think, who are selling this item, then person who are buying this item, then person who are you know, making food from this meat, and also person who are eating. So all this all this chain of those 6 people, they're responsible for killing that animals. So, you know, when people are eating meat, because of problems related with health, it just makes them aging much faster. It means they much faster they become older. So if you are practicing yoga, we are trying, you know, to be as healthy as possible, and because of that, you know, we are doing asanas, we are doing pranayamas, we try to eat as good plant food, because it helps us in our evolution. So meat is very first product that is recommended to fully remove from our eating list. It's like meat, fish, and eggs, and all kind of, you know, that what's related with it. For example, you know, in yoga, it is probably one of the important principles. It is ahimsa. Ahimsa, it is non-killing, no harm to others. So people who are practicing yoga, they understand that, and because of that reason, they do not eat meat. Then another recommendation is to remove sugar from our food list, because sugar causes cancer, damages our teeth and metabolism. So there are recommendations to change sugar to fruits, to dried fruits, to berries, to nuts, because in those products there are a lot of good nutrients for our body. Another recommendation is to remove products filled with white flour and yeast, because white flour and yeast, it works like a glue inside of our body. It creates some certain sheet, and because of that sheet, our body are not able to absorb all nutrients from other products. So it's products like, you know, like cakes, like cookies, like pastries, and similar products in which we can find white flour with yeast. Another recommendation is to fully remove drugs, fully remove alcohol, fully remove tobacco, fully remove coffee, and fully remove green and black tea. Coffee and tea, it means where we can find caffeine. So all those drugs, they very strongly damage our kidney. They also damage our nervous system. They also create a lot of other health problems, and because of that, people who are practicing yoga, they fully remove them from their list. For example, when we're practicing yoga, it is about full consciousness, about fully consciously understanding what happens inside you and what happens outside you. And all those products, they stimulate our inner system, our central nervous system, and because of that, it somehow makes our mind works differently. So yogis fully remove those products because they do not allow to be fully conscious, and also because those products, they create a lot of problems related with health, and they also cause a lot of problem related with life. So for example, from my personal experience, I absolutely do not use drugs, do not use alcohol, do not use tobacco for many years, and I can see that you see the life absolutely different when you do not use stimulants, do not use drugs. Now, what about coffee and what about tea? So please understand that caffeine, it does not give energy. When you drink coffee, you take energy from your inner resources. In coffee beans, there are no energy. Coffee beans, there only stimulates our nervous system, and because of that, you feel up, after cup of coffee. Actually, coffee does not coffee, not tea, not some other drinks. They do not give energy. And another interesting moment that in a lot of coffees, there are a lot of sweeteners like syrups, like sugar, and usually when people drink coffee, they actually drink a lot of sugar with it. So did you try to drink only with coffee beans? It is very disgusting. It has very very bad flavor. It is not tasty to do that. So people sometimes they like to they like to they like to drink it, but they drink it only with a lot of sugar, a lot of syrups and similar things. So both coffee, like caffeine, both sugar, syrups, it destroys a lot of it creates a lot of problems with our health. Now what about tea? So there are tea in which we can find caffeine, so it's the same as with coffee, but we can change tea to herbal tea, because in herbs there are a lot of positive benefits. So herbal tea, it's absolutely all right. So then next recommendation, salt. Yogis recommends to eat salt only in very, very small amount, because if people eat salt in very big amounts, it creates some certain problems related with heart and related with blood. So, for example, people who are eating a lot of food with a lot of salt, it gives them particular problems for health. Then Another recommendation, yogis do not recommend to eat garlic and to eat onion, especially at big quantities. Usually yogis do not eat onion and garlic because it creates very very active mind. So if you are eating onion, garlic, it does not give you calm mind when you try to meditate. So if you are just as we all usual normal person live usual life, of course, then do not be afraid of garlic or of onion. But please have in mind that in yoga practice, if you want to do meditation, if you want to do more deeper yoga practice, so it can be like a problem. So because of that, yogis, they do not eat onion and do not eat garlic. But as I said, if you sometimes will eat it, it's not a problem. But only for deeper practice. It is important then. What about milk and milk products? Yogis do not recommend to use it too much. There are different point of view about milk. Because, for example, in the ancient times, so cow, it was like a god, like a mother, and even now in India, cow, it is a saint animal. But if we take a look, for example, at Europe, so in Europe people are growing cows just to kill them, to sell them. They do not really care actually for their living. They take away their kids and so on, and it's it's not that yogic attitude. So there are actually now there are like two different points of view. If you are able to drink milk from cow for which somebody are chanting mantras, cow that somebody keeps like mother, then probably it's all right. But if you drink milk that you get from usually farm, so it can be a problem, because meat industry and milk industry, it's absolutely the same industry. So there are a lot of problems in that. There are one very interesting movie. It's called Earthlings. And in this movie, I think you can find it where you can watch it online. In this movie, you can see what happens in farms, what happens with animals, how you get meat to the table, or how you get milk to the table. So please, if it's possible, watch Earthlings, and I think you will understand the reason why nowadays there are like two different point of view what to do with the milk. So yogis, they're saying not too much, and also there are another reason that after, for example, 40 years, milk has some certain nutrients that is a little bit like creates some kind of like addiction. For example, when there are mother cow and there are her child, so this kind of addiction, it creates relation between them. But we need to understand that we are not cows babies, we are human, and because of that, if there are no need, so probably we can find a lot of different other products that we can eat. So please take a look at your own situation and see how it goes for you. Nowadays there are a lot of plant-based milk, and probably it is one of the alternatives for usually milk of cows. So basically that's all. If you can, please eat a little bit less processed food, because the more food is natural, you know, the more apple is straight from tree, the more good prana energy it has inside. And the more we are trying to process food, the more we try to cook food, the less prana it becomes. So you know, all kind of fruits, all kind of vegetables, if it's possible to eat it like natural, green, it will give very positive impact for your body, and of course for your health, and of course for your mind. For example, sometimes people ask how vegetarian diet it can be so good. So please imagine elephant. Elephant, it is very big animal, it is very strong animal, and he is vegetarian. Also please imagine horse. It is also very strong animal. Horse can run like very fast. Also fully vegetarian. They eat only plants. So in yoga we are trying to eat as more good food as possible. As I said, most of the yogis, they are vegetarian, they eat plant-based food, and because of that they make good progress in their yoga practice. But in their yoga practice, I mean not only in asanas, in pranayamas, in yama niyama, in meditation practice, because all are very important. Also yogis, they recommend to do shatkarmas. Shatkarmas, for example, Shanka Prakshalana, like Kunjala Kriya, and other shatkarmas that we can find in yoga. Also, it is very, you know, useful to do fasting. For example, on Ekadashi days, or to do fasting, you know, one day of fasting, just in any other day. And it helps us to clean our body from inside, and because of that, our health becomes better. So in yoga, food, it is important, and we are trying to, you know, to eat food that gives us very highly concentrated mind, very clear mind, and of course very good health, very good feeling, a lot of energy, because that energy we can direct to the benefit of all living beings. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.